Let's create a simple function. This function, the name of function echo. This function will receive value in string type and will return string type like this. But what if we want this function to work with other types as well, like numbers? For example, I want value be number type and it returns number. Or I want it in class type, like employee type. Or any other type while still keeping type checking. Using the any type, we can use the any type if we do like this, but using the any type is not a solution because we would lose type safety. The solution is to use a generic type. So we want the value be in generic type T and it returns in T type. Because it's generic, just add these characters after the name of function. So here the letter T stands for type and it's a placeholder for any type we want to use. So it can work with any type we want. Can be it can be string or number or any class type or any object type it can be. So this is the purpose of using generic types in TypeScript. Let's create another generic function. Again, function. Let's call it get first. This function is going to receive any array and so like call it array of a variable and it returns a generic type. For example, our array is in generic type array, and it will return t. So generic, so we have this. So this means this function will receive array type is generic, and it will return generic type. Like if it's string array, it will return string. If it's number array, it will return number. So it will return array, but we want the first element of that array to be returned. So this function receives an array of any type and returns the first element of that array, the first element, index 0. Let's try calling this function with some sample arrays. For example, let's create a new variable const first number and get first. We call the function and we give directly our array like 10, 20, 30. So let's see what the console will return. Let's remove these parts, comment out. Then, so this function returns the first element of that array. Let's try to use in for example, let's try here after this object like const first hobby. So get first, get first employee one hobbies. Hobbies is array type, string type. So employee one, this is the hobbies of employee one. This is in array type. So this function, our function receives the array type and it should return the first element. String type, this one. So let's write a console dot log first hobby. So yes is yes reading. Generics are most commonly used with functions, how we used here. So generic functions, they have like this. The T stands for the type, can be any letter, but the others should follow that character. That, that means that function is generic type. Generics are mostly commonly used with functions that work with arrays, like arrays we used here, objects, how we used here also, objects or other data structures. But generics can also be used with classes. Also, we can use generics in classes after name of class. Again, same as function. We add generic types in our class. Also, we can use in interfaces. We can have also multiple generic types in our function. Here we have only one generic type. We can have multiple, like any other generics. So let's create one sample, a generic function with two generic types. This function gets any property value from any object. So, our function will be function and call it get property. So this function is going to receive object as type of object will be like generic type, and also the key of that object is going to return the property, the value of property or the value of the key in bracket notation. So this will be generic type E and K, and it will return object and key. But we have error here. Type K cannot be used to index type of T. Should write here T extends T of T. So the point was here. We should add extends T of T type. We used extends in classes, like how we used here. Here it means in classes, when we use extends, it means inherits from another class. But in generics, extends means must be this type. So the K must be K of T. K must be a key or our object. So we have to add this part in generic part of our class. So this is the function name receives two parameters, object and key of that object. Key of extends key of that object, and it will return the value of that key or property. To return object key in bracket form. Let's try one sample const example imp name will get property. So we have here two parameters. The first one will be object, any object. For example, employee one, then key of that that object. See here automatically it shows key of employee. So with key of employee, because employees also extends of person class, for example, name. We can't use name. It should be in this form. It will be string. So remember the property names or key names are string. So let's try to print console.log imp name. Here we get the name of that object.